You abominable generation. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. I have a word from the Lord for you, and I'm talking to those of you who fit this criteria. You come along, not just to my channel, to any channel, and you ask for credentials. And that's not bad in and of itself, but you're not asking for credentials in order to really find out the background of someone. You're looking for credentials so you can nitpick and find something to criticize them for, and especially that they give the credentials and then you accuse them of bragging. You accuse them of boasting. You accuse them of relying on the approval of men instead of God, and all of these religious phrases that you've learned to parrot, but you don't understand. You don't understand those. And then there are those of you who will come along and you'll say, oh, well, you don't have credentials, you don't have any authority because you don't have credentials. So as my father used to say about that kind of situation, damned if you do, damned if you don't. But you know who's damned. The scribes and the Pharisees, I tell you by the word of the Lord, the scribes and the Pharisees will stand up on that final day and will condemn you, the lot of you. They will judge you. And you will be condemned because you refused to accept the authority of God in the kingship of God through Jesus Christ and through the men whom he called and appointed. And by this, you're rejecting the word of God. When you reject the kingship of God, you reject the word of God. No matter what you say, no matter what you call the word of God, which most of you will call this the word of God, and you are idolaters, you definitely will be condemned. You will not be saved. You do not know Jesus Christ. You do not know the Father. You've never known him according to this. Because if you are in sin and you're continuing to sin, you've never known Jesus. If the Son sets you free, you are free indeed. Free from what? From the bondage of sin. From being forced to obey sin. You're an idolater. You're calling this the word of God because it says in here, the word was God. And you're calling this the word of God? That means you're calling this God. You are. By the testimony of God himself. When you call this the word of God, you are calling this book God. This book is not Jesus Christ. This book is not the Son of God. This book is not the Word of God, who became incarnate. This is not the incarnation of the Word of God. There's one incarnation of the Word of God, and that's Jesus Christ. And he will come again, but in the same flesh. He was incarnated once. But I tell you the truth. As I said before, under the word of God on you, that the scribes and the Pharisees will stand up on that final day and will judge you and condemn you. Because you found these traps to try to set so that you wouldn't have to hear and listen to the word of God.